Hello and welcome to my channel, Spiritual Gina, where I encourage you to live from your soul. My name is Gina. Today I have for you guys a pick a card, and this will be messages from your higher self, your spiritual self. And so I have not done a pick a card in like ages. So it feels really good to be back. And so it is a little bit different because you will just see either a picture of a sequoia tree or a picture of a clamshell. And that will be how you pick your reading. Those were the two things that first came to mind as I was sitting down to kind of channel the messages through. So that is what you have to pick from. Pile one will be the sequoia tree, and pile two will be the clamshell. So please pick your pile, and I will see you there. And of course, if you want to work one-to-one, I currently don't have any solid options for that. However, I do have a psychic development sound portal experience that you can um, tap into if that is what you are looking for. And yeah, so now to your readings. Hello, Pawans. This will be for if you chose the Sequoia tree, this will be your reading. So the cards we're using are a Tarot de Marseille mini deck, and then we also have some cards that I created maybe a year ago now, and so you won't see these anywhere. So the messages would be very much channeled for me, basically, except for the tarot, of course, but even then, that's channeled for me. So, without further ado, oh my god, guys, first time back, the jitters. This will be your reading. Alright, so we have the Eight of Wands. Yes, the Eight of Wands. Interesting. The Two of Swords. The World. And Strength. I always love ending with strength because it's kind of like no matter what's being thrown your way, you are being called to really dig your feet into the soil and push through whatever this is. And that's kind of the message here. I'm getting a lot of um mental battling, mental um the word triangulation comes to mind, but that's not correct. Just a lot of mental anguish, or just really wanting to figure things out with the mind, and that's not what you're really being called here to do. And you're not even called really to use willpower with whatever this is. So this looks like a situation that has been very much ongoing in your life. And it really is about navigating whatever this is from a very highly spiritual perspective, and knowing that before this problem is solved, because it is a problem or it is like an issue, that there will be some significant things that are closed out in your life, some endings, um, and it's all divinely orchestrated. And so, no matter what you think, you do have a lot of power in your hands here with the Strength card at the end. And there's also a call to surrender. And it's interesting that that comes up because I was thinking about earlier, what does surrender mean? Because surrender isn't about losing yourself. It's not about giving your power away to an outside source. Because if surrender is about that, you might as well just be a Christian. You might as well just be in the Christian religion, because that's kind of what Christianity supports, is like this giving away of your power. So instead of giving away your power, it's almost like you're being called to cultivate it, and through that cultivation, that will be your breakthrough. But this is difficult work, a lot of mental blocks, a lot of blocks within the spiritual body. And not a lot, like, it's a lot in the sense that it's going on for a long time. So, I don't want to say childhood trauma, but just instances throughout your life that have led to like this um crescendo of energy comes to mind. Like this just they're like saying slow down. Uh Instances throughout your life that have led to this built up. It's like a callus, basically, like a spiritual callus that you're kind of like working your way through. And again, it's like not about it is about physical force, yes, but it's also about having a spiritual prowess. But I really like what I said about a spiritual callus. And yeah, your cards are really interesting because when I was channeling, or like, when I was pulling your cards, I'm like, it felt like a more of a simple message, but it's also like sometimes the simplest things can be very difficult to do, and particularly when it comes to the endings that you are facing, um, and how uncomfortable that can make you feel. But you are prepared for the endings and the new beginnings that will come. And yeah, so I'm not going to draw out on the messages because that's kind of what I see here in the cards. And the Eight of Swords is I mean Eight of Wands, excuse me. It's very interesting. Very it's like saying you're up for the challenge. And it's very, like I was saying, like a calloused. It's very intricate. And so not relying so much on the mind, but really relying on the cultivation that you are either being called to do or that you have done, and you will continue to still be able, or the cultivation that you have done and what you are still being called to do. So for my deck, we have primordial wisdom, we have patience, intuition development, and soul gifts. So yeah, like literally what I was saying in your reading, like you have a lot of resources, inner resources available to you, and if you feel like you don't, you are being called to develop your intuition. From the cards here, this could be, I was gonna say your sign, but I'm not really seeing a specific sign. Maybe earth sign, fire sign, dominance. But it's just like using all the tools you have available to you to really tame the inner lion, the inner beast. It's not even a beast. It's like just like this inner, directing your inner fire. And it may seem, I guess, lonely, or lonely, or like no one around you knows exactly what you're going through. So not having, sometimes even not having the words for yourself, and still being called to like, pursue lots of soul gifts that you have access to, and if you haven't unearthed them, you're being called to really like delve into that. And that's that is directly connected to intuition development, your soul gifts, primordial wisdom. There could be some sages, holy text, divine wisdom, some spiritual teachers that you can tap into, even, you know, viewing the elements, viewing nature around you as the ultimate spiritual teacher. Receptivity is going to be a huge thing for you. Um, Receptivity towards your soul, understanding talents that you have carried throughout lifetimes, and leaning into that. And yeah, so I'm not here to draw this out. This is what I'm seeing here for you guys. And yeah, thank you so much for listening. If it resonated with you, leave a comment down below. If it didn't, leave a comment down below. And I hope you have a lovely day. And because you do have intuition development here, I do have a product called the Cosmic Human, which is a 3-week sound bath portal. So it's all about receptivity. You aren't doing anything. The only thing that you're being called to do is connect more with nature. And that's it. Literally, you are there to receive um, activation of your clairs. And yeah, so that'll be all for my pile number ones. Thank you for choosing the sequoia tree. That has been the wisdom imparted upon you. Use it or not. The choice is up to you. Thank you. Bless. Well, welcome to your readings, pile twos. This will be for if you choose the beautiful clamshell. This will be your reading. So first, we're taking a sip of water because, as always, whenever I'm doing this, I get kind of thirsty. So, as I was saying, I have not done a pick a card in ages. I don't even offer tarot services anymore. And they're like, you need to put a reading, you need to put your services back up. And I'm like, I always go back and forth with that because I really don't want to do. I mean, I want to do tarot, but like in a very limited capacity. And they're like saying, yeah, just do it in limited capacity. So I guess we'll see what comes out of that. But anyways, you chose a clamshell. So I actually saw one of your cards when they came out. It was the moon. So very psychic. We have the King of Cups, Judgment. Oh wow, they give me interesting one here. The Four of Pentacles and the Moon. Hmm. You are awakening. You are awakening a deeply sacred part of yourself, Pautus. This has been quite a journey for you. Um, it's a part of yourself that has almost been locked away for quite some time, and so there's this call to like there's been like a stagnancy in your life, and it's almost like a sacred pause, basically. And it's not so much that you are awakening as I mean, we say this a lot in the spiritual community, but this is definitely a deep remembrance of a soul echo that you are beginning to be able to um lean into because you've cultivated a certain depth in yourself, and now it's like because you've been practicing, excuse me, they're saying I play violin, and they're saying like because you have been doing the basics, you are now moving onto a different level of existence. So like because you practice your scales or because you do certain things in the violin, you're able to play certain more advanced pieces, and I'm just seeing like an advancement happening. Um, so the moon here for me, it's always about psychic development, psychic energies, being able to tap into that, but also a heavy spirit of discernment. This is quite beautiful, Pautus. I feel like this deep sense of um of maturity that has happened. And it hasn't been the most fun process either. It's been something that um honestly some things have fallen away. A lot of things have been taken away from you or um removed. But for me, it feels more like it feels more like um, an understanding of why things happened the way they did, I suppose. So I guess they say that hindsight is 2020, but in this case, hindsight is 28. You know, our vision can actually go up to being 20, like 20 over 8. So like really a concentration of like human ability. But yeah, I don't know. Your cards just have a certain softness, a certain warmth in them. But they're saying that this is like something that has like slowly and gradually built due to an inner diligence that not a lot of people have. And I feel a certain stability as well. But they're stressing that this is something that has been earned, something that has been fought for, something that has been um, having to have made sacrifices, having to have lost things that you wanted to keep. So I mean, there's a certain sadness here too, along with the warmth, along with like the growth. So it's like this is really Saturnian energy, actually, because you know Saturn is the planet that asks us to mature, but then in a certain sense, it also like wears us down. Just so you like a lot of things have worn you down. This is something that has been won, but kind of at a steep cost, and not in a negative way, but in a way that has forced you to they're saying the wheat being separated from the tares in the Bible. I don't reference the Bible often, but like just like losing access to certain frequencies of energies that have been ingrained in your system. So I don't normally, because I drew judgment in a personal reading, and they're saying that this is ancestral separation. This is a very deep purging, a cleansing, a remembrance, a stabilization that has happened, that has been won, but kind of like it's just the price that has been the price that it had to be paid at um could be feel very steep. So we have, as I told the part number one, I made my own cards. There's something in my ear, like a crackling. It's very interesting. This never happens. It's almost like it's like a newscast or something, you know, like when the signal is going in and out. It's really interesting. What is it? One of the clairs. The hearing clair. I forget which one. So we have as the cards that I've done. So these cards are cards I made around a year ago. Haven't publicly shared them. Haven't decided if I will or not, but your cards are refraction, waves, and I was saying like foundation is being built. Waves, steady yourself. Oh wow, monitoring spirits, wow. And rose frequency, how beautiful. So these cards, in addition to your message, for me, I wrote this card refraction because it represents higher consciousness being thrown into a certain distortion and needing to like fix that distortion. And so that's the process that you have undergone, and like just realizing where in your life things are distorted. Um, you know, and feeling that and seeing that and needing to ground through those waves of new energies being integrated and remembered as well. You know, we do have the moon card here, and so monitoring spirits. I never lean into the moon card as being a card of distortion. I feel that the moon card really represents like hustling and finessing and like navigating in like weird and uncertain times. But we do have the monitoring spirits card, and I mean, just being cautious about who you're around, about what you're getting from people energetically. Because even though it can feel, I know that whenever I am engaging with people, it can feel like I'm paranoid about them, like not trusting them and not like wanting to be around them. And they're saying that that can be justified for you. And we do have the rose frequency. Again, I wrote this card about about the primordial rose essence. The rose, I think it's around 25,000 years old. 25 million years old, excuse me. The rose is one of the oldest flowers that we have. I think, pretty sure it's one of the oldest flowers that we have. So I wrote this card to represent a very ancient energy. And so, like I was saying, like there's something primal and something, an older essence that you're tapping into that has always been there, but it's like because of like the inner excavation that you have been doing, you're beginning to tap into that very ancient energy. I have my iPad here, so let's see if I'm able to search how old the rose is. I want to be correct. Is that the 25 million or 75 million years? Oh, excuse me, old. Let's put it a little bit closer. But yeah, this is a very beautiful energy. It's like a coming home, basically. Um, and yeah, I'm not seeing anything else here really. And it's not loading, so that's fine. I mean, didn't really expect it to, but that has been your messages, pal twos, Miss my clam pal. I wish you much luck on your journey. I mean, it's very beautiful, but I just want to stress that it's like you're being commended basically for how arduous this is, because there's a recognition from your higher self, from your soul, that this has been arduous and very tiresome, but it's given you a level of discernment, a level of growth that many people won't experience in this lifetime and for many lifetimes to come. So the the ancient essence of your soul energy is being commended, acknowledged, and just applauded even. And so yeah, thank you so much for watching Pow Twos. I hope you found this reading to be helpful. And yeah, thank you so much. Bless.